Hey, this is Mike, Sator 42 Vinyl. Today I'm going to do a video, kind of a request, somebody in the comments actually, which is kind of cool, I mean, getting comments is cool, but also getting, like people saying, oh, I like your videos, I like how you do your records, will you do a video on this? That's kind of cool. So somebody was interested in my records because I put my records in the back sleeve here, and then when I do put them in the back sleeve with the inner sleeves that I buy, I put the hype sticker, I take the hype sticker and I actually put it in the back so it's stationary in there, it's not just floating around. So the first thing I'll do obviously is open the record, and because this is music on vinyl, it already comes in a sleeve, resealable sleeve, but I am not going to use the sleeve. I prefer the ultra clear, kind of like almost like the shrink wrap clear sleeves that you can put on albums, and I'll show you the brand that I use. But since this is a resealable, this is a little bit different. But this was a brand new record, I do the jeans method of opening it, where I'll take the side that you pull the record out, and you can rub it on your leg, kind of back and forth. If you do it, you might have to do it a little bit hard, but don't do it too hard. You don't want to crease the record. But if you go back and forth enough times, especially if you're wearing jeans, it kind of warms up that seal and the friction kind of tears it open, and then you can stick your finger in there and it just kind of pops right open real easily. That's how I do it. I know a lot of people use knives and things like that, but I'm not really good with that stuff. So I always am afraid that I'm gonna cut the record or, accidentally kind of nick the sleeve, the inner sleeve. So I try not to do that. I have a no shrink policy for my albums because it's just not something that I want to have on my albums. I know some people collect shrink with the hype sticker and all that stuff, and they like to keep the album as, I guess, close to the retail version of the album, when they buy it in the store as possible. I don't have that issue or that need or want to do that myself, so I don't do that. Any shrink, even if I buy an album that's like, well, I don't care how old it is, if it has shrink on it, that shrink's coming off. I don't care. It's gone. It's going in the garbage. My opinion, and this is just my opinion, shrink is used for protecting the album during transportation, in the mail, to and from the record store. It's to help protect it from in-store, people touching it, if they have dirty hands, if they just ate a big sloppy Joe and then now they're, flipping through records, that'll protect the outer sleeve as well. And also, on your ride home, if it's raining or whatever, you're not going to damage the album until you can open it when you get home and it's real close to its permanent spot in your collection. But I just feel, and I get the idea of, having the album as close to its original retail. That's how I open an album, whatever, I don't know if that's interesting or not. So once I open the album, I'll take this outer sleeve, set it aside, and I verify what's in here. So this album came with now this MoFis come with these plastic inner sleeves already, inner sleeve and plastic. So these are nice inner sleeves, but I still don't like them. I'm not going to use this. I purchase these other inner sleeves that I want to use. The main reason I do that, it's kind of a little bit of an OCD thing. I like to have all the albums stored the same way, with the same, knowing that the same stuff is in there. So whether these albums come with this stuff or not, this is cool. And for people who want to save money, they can save an inner sleeve on this and keep this and use this because it's probably just as good as, a Hudson Hi-Fi or a MoFi. But for me, with my little bit of OCD that I have, I want everything to be kind of uniform. When I pull out an album, I want to know everything that's in there. I don't want to be surprised by like, oh, this one has a different inner sleeve in it. So I will be taking the album out of this. I won't be using this. This album also came with, it looks like two inner sleeves, or not inner sleeves, but two inner sheets. This is a lyric sheet, two-sided, and it also came with this cool little, I guess, poster of the cover of the album. Nothing on the back, so that's cool. So I will be keeping both of these. So the first thing, I'll just show you the first thing that I'll do is I will put it in a new inner sleeve. I buy these Hudson Hi-Fis, and the reason I buy these, they come in a 100-pack. And one of the really cool things about this is they're 20, right now, at least on Amazon, they're under $29. So they're 28 something, right? Normally, a 50 pack of Invest in vinyls cost me 20 bucks. So I was buying those for a long time, but I was kind of looking to see if I could save some money and maybe find some good inner sleeves that are just as good. I've tried other inner sleeves that I didn't like. So yeah, these Hudson Hi-Fi ones I think are the best. And I'm talking about Amazon prices, by the way. So I find that these are the best value and the best quality. So Hudson Hi-Fi is the ones I buy for 28 bucks. So I'm going to replace this, put the album in the Hudson Hi-Fi. There, now it lives here. And what's cool about this is when I put this in the back of the outer sleeve that I'm gonna put it in, I'll be able to see the color of the album. And it's also helpful when you're showing it on the video, you know, if you do make videos, to not have to pull out the album all the time, just turn the record over and show the color that the vinyl is, which is cool. All right, so that's done. Set that aside. Now, this inner is just gonna go back in the outer sleeve. I'm not gonna do anything with that. It just goes right back in there, and that's where it's gonna store. So then these two things I'm gonna save, but I'm gonna put them in the back of the outer sleeve that I'm gonna put this in. Okay, so I buy one brand of outer sleeve, and that brand is from a company called ClearBags. I don't know if you can see that or not. So this is a company called ClearBags. Now they have a website, but they also sell stuff on Amazon. Usually the brand or the model, I'll say model number, the BLP ones, which I call the small, they're usually on Amazon and available pretty consistently. So they don't really sell out, you know, they usually have these on there for the most part. So if you search for ClearBags and you type in BLP1, you're gonna get these sleeves. Now these are the Ultra Clear. So they're not cloudy at all, and they kind of replace the feeling of the brand new shrink, you know, that you get, you know, when you maybe that's why some people keep the shrink from these albums, because they feel like, oh, they're, you know, makes it seem like it's still new or as new as it's going to be, you know, and it's kind of protected as well. These are ultra clear. And these also have a flap, which is good. So you can buy the ClearBags and you can buy BLP1 and F, which means no flap. So if you do want to have no flap, you can buy them without that. The sticky part is on the back of the back of this. It's not on the flap, so you don't have to ever worry about pulling your album out and it getting stuck. That's taken care of. Yeah, and the reason why I buy the flaps is just common sense to me. It's just, you know, to protect from dust getting in there while it sits on your shelf. The space between the top of your album and the top of your shelf, you know, on the inside, dust does get in there. So that's, you know, that's not a mystery or anything. It does get in there. So the potential of having an open flap on the top and dust getting in here with your album in it is a possibility. And this flap will stay on the top when I put my albums, when I slide them in and out. If you put them sideways, that's one thing that I used to do that. I used to put them sideways, but every time I pull in and out, this flap would get bent all the time and it would just really annoy the crap out of me. So I prevent that by just always storing my albums straight up and down with the flap at the top. But yeah, so that's why I buy the flap, is mostly just to protect the album from dust. It does make it a little more cumbersome when you're opening and closing the album and trying to get stuff in and out of it. You know, you don't have that automatic ease of use of pulling it out. You have to undo the flap. But to me, that's a minor inconvenience to be able to use the, you know, to be able to protect the album and prevent dust. Now, BLP1 is the smaller of the ClearBags. So these are used for single vinyl albums. So this one I'm probably going to use for the Saxon album because I know that's a single vinyl. It's not a gate or a single jacket. It's not a gatefold. Now for the gatefolds or just larger size single albums, there is one called the BLPD. Show that, BLPD. That's ClearBags. That's with flap. And these are just slightly larger so that you can fit a nice size gatefold in here. Plenty of room in the BLPD to handle a large size gatefold. So that's the only difference between the two the two outer sleeves that I buy to protect the albums. Next step is hype. Because I'm not going to use this outer sleeve and I want to keep the hype sticker, I'm going to cut this off. Now I'm going to cut this as close to the edge as possible. I don't want any extra. All right, so the next thing I do, so in order to keep this, and this was one of the questions that I had, was how are my hype stickers, you know, able to stay stationary on the album. So what I do is the Hudson Hi-Fi or the inner sleeve that I buy, I'm gonna stick the hype sticker on here, but I'm going to use these Avery stickers. So these are multi-use labels. They're 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch. They're number 6737. I don't know if that'll focus or not. I can't tell. So I buy these, and I actually bought these for a different purpose. I bought these just to, I had written the year of the year that the albums come out, and then I would use 2 of them, one for the reissue date and one for the regular date, and then I would stick them on there. You can use them for that still, if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to do what I do with, buy a label maker, which is what I did, bought myself for Christmas. You can just write things on these stickers and put them on the back of your outer sleeves, your ClearBag sleeves, and then you can just, you can put any kind of information or as much information. You can buy bigger ones to where you can just write all kinds of stuff. You can use a printer to print stuff on these if you want, if you're able to line all that stuff up. And so you can do all kinds of cool stuff with just labels and sticking them on the back of the outer sleeves that you put your albums in. But what I'm going to use this is I'm going to take one of these little stickers and I'm going to fold them in half so they're sticky on both sides. And then I'm going to put it on the back of the hype sticker. And for this one, since it's large, I'll do all 4 corners. Usually hype stickers are smaller than this, so I only need to use like 1 of these. But in this case, since it's big, I'll just use 4. I'll do each corner. Kind of doesn't matter how you do it, how you stick it on there, or even where, I could probably get away with using like 2, one at the top, 1 at the bottom. But I'm going to do 4. So I just have these little stickers on there, and then now I'm going to stick this on the back of the inner sleeve, line it up as best I can so it's straight, and then boom, there, it's on there. So every time I pull in and out the sleeve, that's going to be on there, and whenever I pull the album out, I'll show you what it looks like, but you'll be able to see the hype sticker and still read it, which I think is really cool. All right, so I have my BLP1. This is going to go in. Now it's in there. That's where it's going to live, and you can see it's ultra clear. That does show reflection in light, but in live person, I think it looks good. So it's ultra clear, so you can really see the artwork really good through these ultra clear outers. Then I'm going to put the inner sleeves, all these inner lyric sheets and stuff. I'm just going to put them in the back so that I have easy access to them if I want to pull them out and look at them and stuff. So now I have them in the back as well. And then I'm going to put the album in there. And then I'll pull off the sticker for the tab or for the flap. And boom, that's it. So now when I show an album, I can show it like this, tilt it a little bit for the light, and then show you the color of the album and the hype sticker. So that's how I do that with the hype sticker. Okay, here's an album that I've shown recently. This has a hype sticker down here, but it also came with this little postcard that the band signed, and I did the same thing. I put little stickers on there. So normally I don't take these out, but so it's just right on this inner sleeve. They're just stuck right on there with those little stickers. And since you're only pulling the album out just a little bit from the back here, take the record in and out after well, at least for me, after I crack it open, it just goes in and out, no problem. It doesn't mess with the stickers at all. And you can still enjoy the hype stickers, It doesn't cover up any of the artwork on the front of the album, and it just covers up a little bit of the back of the album with the color. And yeah, so here's a label. Now, I bought this little label maker. It's called a little Niimbot. I think this was only like 30 bucks. It's not that expensive. Yeah, it's like a little, label maker that comes with these little squares that you can print. Basically, you can type and print whatever you want on the little stickers. And basically what I do is, I'll find out some information about the album, stuff that I want to put on the sticker. The first thing I want to put on there is the release date. So I have the release date of the album, the original release date. Then here I have the reissue release date, which in this case is November 2017. This album came out originally in 1993. And then I put out which album this is. This is their first album. So that helps me as well, you know, like knowing, like, if I'm explaining something, I can say, oh, this is their first album. Or for Blind Guardian, this album came out in 1998 and it's their fifth studio album. You know, I can just have that information right on the sticker, which is cool. I have a horrible memory when I'm doing the videos, so it's anything that helps me. Then I put the time, 38. This album is 38 minutes long and 41 seconds. You can usually get that from Wikipedia, or if you're doing Metal Archives has that, the time on there. Or you can use Spotify. It will tell you the full length of the time on an album up to the minute. It doesn't give you the seconds usually for the full. But as long as I'm just close, and really I don't even need that. I just wanted to have something else on there. And then I put the genre. In this case, it's power pop, I think. That's why I put Letter Cleo in. It's kind of alternative power pop, which is kind of fun. So this just gives me things to do while I'm listening to my records, you know? Like, I haven't even done half of my collection yet with this little label maker. It's just a fun little project, you know, that I can do while listening to music. You know, I'm not just staring at my turntable spinning, which is cool. You know, I can have the lyrics in front of me, or I can read, you know, the liner notes and things like that, or I can just go on my phone, read things about the band, about the album. You know, I could do that, but also it's nice to have something to do while I'm listening to music. And any little project I can do with my records is fun. So that's pretty much it. That's how I go through this little ritual every time I buy an album now. You know, I'll open it up, I'll verify hype stickers. I have the whole ritual of taking everything apart, putting it all back together in my way with the stuff that I bought, like the ClearBags, the Hudson Hi-Fi inner sleeves, sticking the hype sticker on the back and everything, and then, you know, just having everything ready to go to show on one of my videos, which is cool. Or just, you know, for me to be able to, you know, have easy access to everything that the album has to offer. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully this was interesting. And I did a video like this before, but my process changed a little bit. So I figured I would re-update it. And I did get a question about, you know, how are you doing your hype stickers like that? Instead of just answering that one question, I figured I'd do a video on it. All right, this is Mike, Satyr 42 vinyl. I'm going to show you how I clean my vinyl records. When I get a new album or a used album, I will set up my cavitation machine, my ultrasonic machine here, and then I will fill it with water. And I bought this item here that will actually spin records. So when you turn it on, you can see that it's spinning there. So you can put the record on there, you can screw it on with this, and then when the cavitation machine is on and the water is vibrating, creating the bubbles, it'll bounce against the record, and it's supposed to deep clean the grooves. So that's basically what I do. The default is set for 5 minutes, but for a deep clean, I can do like 10 minutes if I feel like the record needs it. Usually I don't have to do anything else to the album. And when I take it out of the machine, I don't have a drying mechanism. So I really just take like a small paper towel and lightly, you know, wipe off the excess water. And then I just let it sort of air dry for a few minutes. So that's all I do. And I will put an album on here and show it spinning. And the biggest drawback to this is how loud the machine is. So that's why I have it in my kitchen here. So I clean the records here in the kitchen, and then I'll go in the other room, my music room, and, you know, turn the music up a little bit, close a couple doors so I don't have to hear this while it's cleaning records. And I'll set a timer on my phone for like 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how long I clean the record for, and then I'll come back out here when the timer's up. And I'll put a record on here and come right back. Okay, so now I have the record on here. I'll give you a little close up. There's a little spindle here where you can put this piece on there and screw it on. You can see the back side where it's connected. And now I can turn on the spinner, I guess I'll call it. That's not even quiet, actually. It's kind of loud. And then I will play a little bit of the cavitation so you can kind of hear it. It's really loud. This record was pretty clean, so I'm only going to do 5 minutes just to get most of the dust and stuff off of it. There you go. So all right, so it's been 5 minutes. So I'm going to turn off the spinner here. And as you can see, there's water on the record. That kind of just drips off, you know, the excess, but it's still pretty wet. So what I'll do is I'll pull it off the spindle here, and then I'll just sort of wipe it down with a paper towel just to get off the excess water, and then I'll let it air dry for the rest of the way. And that's it. I have good luck using this method. Records that sometimes I'll play a record before and after just to make sure that this is actually doing something. And sometimes it makes a big difference. Sometimes it's just slight differences. Sometimes it's no different. You know, it really just depends how dirty the record is. And obviously scratches and stuff like that, or minor hairlines and whatever, that doesn't, this doesn't affect that, of course. But yeah, this is how I clean my records. Or the used ones anyway, and the new ones. You can throw a new record in here. Usually though, I don't clean my new records. I know that I probably, sometimes I do though, so it really just depends. If I play the record and it plays great all the way through and I don't notice any issues, I just let it go and I just put it in a sleeve and pack it away. But sometimes if there is noise on it or excess, paper, shavings on there or whatever, from the inner sleeves, or a lot of static even, putting it in the water helps remove that static. Obviously you can buy those guns and everything too, but I just use, just throw it in here, do a quick 5 minutes, or even just 2 or 3 minutes you can do on a new record. You don't even have to do it for 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is kind of the default. So I usually just do 5 minutes no matter what. All right. All right, cool. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Thanks. Bye.